Hey guys, this is After Dark. I know this topic is probably not a little risque or, what we normally discuss on After Dark, but I'm going to give you guys a little bit to get on. And once you get on, like I said, say hi, reach out to somebody and say, Auntie Nella is on live with After Dark. So, After Dark, I'm going to give you guys a little disclaimer here on After Dark for, new people that might be jumping on board for After Dark. We talk about a little bit of everything. We talk about sex. You can be as raunchy as you want with your comments. You can ask me whatever you like with your comments. I will answer them. I'm going to give you the real.com.real.com. So, go ahead and we'll wait for a couple more people to come on. And once you guys come on, say hi. Hey, June. Hey, Lanisha. So once you guys come on, we'll dig into this topic because this, like I said, it's not quite a risque topic, but I think it's a good topic to discuss because I've heard a couple of people say, you know what, I don't know how, difficult it is. I heard somebody just say this the other day, say that, you know what, I don't understand how people could be in a marriage for a long time, or be in a marriage for a long time, and they can, continue to have a good sex life. I'm here to tell you about it. So we're going to get into it and talk about it. So let's begin. I'm gonna start. We got enough people. I'm just going to start. I ain't going to hold you guys up because, I know it's getting late and it's Monday night. So let's just dig into it. What I'm going to say is any marriage that you're in with the longevity in that marriage, and if you're struggling with sex, then I just feel like you haven't taken the time to put in the work. You haven't taken the time to make sure you've put in the work. Because let me tell you something. Sex and longevity in marriage is no different than longevity period of being in a marriage, of being with somebody for a long period of time. The same person. Just like you have to put in the work with that, you have to put in the work when it comes to your sex life. You can't have a marriage where the marriage is half, you putting half of what you need to put into it and not giving it your all. So I find, especially being with my husband for 29 years and being married for 24 years, I find a lot of time I have to constantly think of things to elevate my marriage. I have to constantly think of things that's going to elevate my sex life with my husband. I can't continue to do what I may have done, back in the day when we met. I can't continue to do that because then, yes, it does become boring. If I'm constantly that person that I'm doing a missionary position, if I'm constantly that person that I'm just laying in the bed, if I'm constantly that person that I'm just on top, or, I'm just doing basic, I'm not creating, I'm not elevating when it comes to sex, then guess what? Just like it's boring to you, it's boring to them. So you just have to take time to make sure that you're putting in the work. If you're not willing to put in the work and they're not willing to put in the work, well, you know what? Sex ain't the only thing that's stopping your marriage from growing. Sex ain't the only thing that's making your marriage boring. You have to make sure you have everything working all together. You have to make sure your marriage life is working great. You have to make sure your communication is there. You have to dang on sure make sure sex is top notch. Because if you don't take time to make sure you're connecting with your spouse and connecting with them emotionally when it comes to sex, oh baby, he gonna get it from somewhere else. He gonna get it from somewhere else, or she gonna get it from somewhere else. So it's important to make sure you put in the work. It's not just us women putting in the work. Guys, y'all out there too, y'all gotta put in some work and put your thinking caps on too. I don't want to always be the person that I'm constantly thinking of different things. I'm constantly thinking of new ideas. I'm constantly thinking of, changing up some stuff. No. When we got married and we're one. So we need to work as one. So just like I'm putting a lot of work when it comes to the marriage, when it comes to sex, that man needs to do the same thing. No different than a man who has a woman. The woman needs to do the same thing. The man needs to do the same thing. It is key. It's important to make sure the two of you are putting into it. Longevity, it shouldn't come to a fact. It shouldn't come to a point in life where people are like, man, I've been with my husband for so long and I have to step out, because I'm so boring. He not giving me everything I want to do. He not giving me everything I want. He a 2-minute man. He just want to get on top of me and do what he got to do and then we done. No, boo, you better speak up. You better speak up because what's happening is you're now doing the worst thing that you can do, or he's doing the worst thing that he can do, where you guys are stepping outside of your marriage to get all that you want by somebody else, that you could just have a conversation with your spouse and say, hey, honey, here's what I think we're missing. Here, let's hit this reset button and start back over again and figure some stuff out. And we're both going to work together. You have to make sure you're working together as one unit. Sex is important. Have confidence in it. You know, I hear a lot of people say, you know what, I'm shy. You know, I don't know if I want to say that to him. I don't know if I want to give it to him. I don't know what I want to do. Well, you know what? If you ain't direct, if you ain't straight up front and direct, then you ain't getting what you want. Because let me tell you something. I'll be just like that pilot running that plane. Nope, move to the left. Nope, move to the right. Yep, you got it. I want you to know when you done got me where I need to be. Because I also think that that man may appreciate it. No different than the woman may appreciate it. You telling them, yep, you got that spot. Nope, you moved to the wrong spot. I think it comes along with growth. It comes along with you being confident in what you want and okay with expressing it to your spouse. It's okay with you doing that. Nothing's wrong with it. It shouldn't take away from you. It shouldn't take away from him. Because the bottom goal is for him to please you and you to please him. There's nothing wrong as you're helping him to teach him what pleases you. And nothing wrong if he's helping you to teach you what pleases him. Some men may not like oral sex. Some men may not like doggy style. Some women may not like oral sex. Some women might not like it on the top. Be honest and be okay with expressing it. Because what your flavor may be in the bedroom may not be my flavor in the bedroom. I said this and I'll continue to say it. I will try something once in my life. If I don't like it, I'm exiting it out. If I do like it, then it's going to continue. Be okay and comfortable. You know, I heard somebody say to me, this was maybe 3 months ago, you know, Auntie, I don't do that because I don't want to feel like a slut. How you feel like a slut if you having sex with your husband? The bedroom when you're married is undefilable. So I don't understand why would you feel that way. Sometimes we as women create labels for ourselves with what society creates a label. That's what society may have thought. You know what I'm saying? Oh, if I dress up in a nice little, lingerie and some heels on and, I got, some nice little stuff on in my hair and I'm looking, I feel like I'm a prostitute. Boo, how you feel like you're a prostitute? Tell me. Have you stood on the corner? The only way you would feel like you're a prostitute is you was a prostitute. So stop creating a label for yourself because of what society thinks that is. I don't think nothing's wrong with you taking time to dress up for your husband. I don't think nothing's wrong with taking time for your husband. I don't think nothing's wrong with you role playing. But that's something you have to be comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with it and you're not willing to do it, then that's between you and your spouse. If he doesn't like that, then that's the decision that you guys have to make. But I say, try some things, do some things, be some things, and then figure out if you like it. But before you try some things, be some things, do some things, make sure you're comfortable in your own skin. Nobody wants you to come to them and try to sell that you're sexy and you're stiff as a board. Nobody wants that. Sell it. You decided to do it, sell it. And I promise you, the next time it's going to be better and better and better. Never size your decision of never doing something with one time. Because the first time is going to be a hot ghetto mess. I'm chuckling a little bit to myself because I go back to think of some of the stuff I did for my husband, and I think about it now, and I'm like, oh, that was just a hot ghetto mess. But you know what? It's no different than riding a bike. If you continue to ride that bike with them training wheels, and then finally they take the training wheels off, you ride that bike without the training wheels. So allow yourself to be free. Allow yourself to be comfortable. Allow yourself to explore your husband's body. Allow yourself to allow your husband to explore your body. Sex is key. Sex is important. If you want longevity and a good sex life, make sure you guys are creating a platform to make that happen. Longevity in sex ain't something that just automatically appear. You have to work at it. You have to make sure you guys are both in tune to each other. You guys are comfortable with each other. You guys are willing to try things. You know, sometimes you have some men who will be like, you know what, I don't want my wife to do that because I don't want to be looking at her like that, you know. But I bet you'll go to that thought on the corner and ask that thought to do it. So it's nothing wrong with you having a conversation with your wife and say, hey, here's what I want to do. Whether she accepts it or declines it, at least you've had that conversation with them and say, hey, here's where I'm looking. Here's what I want. I will hope you'll be willing to do it. They have a choice to say yes or no. But you can't knock them because they choose to say no. Sometimes it takes people a little time to get comfortable with something that they're not comfortable with. And so allow them, ask them, allow them to give you an answer, an honest answer. And if they say no, you know, I say, you know what, move on and find something else that's going to be comfortable. But don't use the excuse, I went to the thought because my wife didn't do it for me. No, that's not it. Don't use the excuse, I went, you know, to this baller dude because my wife didn't do it. You know, my wife didn't give it to me. Or my husband didn't give it to me. So make sure you're honest. Make sure you're willing to work. Sex will be the one thing I will tell you guys that will kill a vibe when it comes to a marriage. If he's not performing in the bedroom, if you're not performing in the bedroom, when I tell you that will kill a vibe, it will kill a vibe instantly. Nobody wants a boring sex life. Nobody wants to be laying on their back all the time. Nobody wants to be on top all the time. Nobody wants the woman to be in control and the man in control and the woman just doing what the man says. Or vice versa. Nobody wants that. Sex is a give and take thing. We have to give and take. Just like I'm pleasing you, I want you to please me. It ain't about you get yours and I'll get mine. Try with me. I bet you won't do it again. You have to make sure you're doing everything you can to please your mate, and your mate have to make sure they're doing everything they can to please you. So I'm going to say, in order to create, and I'm going to wind up, I'm going to leave my last note with you guys here, and then we're going to end live for tonight. This what I will leave with you guys. If you're looking for sex, longevity in a marriage, and sex to make sure it's not boring in a marriage, it starts with you. Plain and simple. It starts with each of you. You both have to make sure you are dedicated to make sure you're doing everything you can do to make sure you're watering that flower to make sure it grows. And if you're not watering that flower to make sure it grows, then you got to expect that there's drought there. And if drought there, then what happens is there's no growth. Then you can't continue to have longevity in a marriage with sex. Because what's happened is when you stunt your growth, it's boring. Nothing's happening. You have to find a way, if you're in that position today, you need to find a way to create new growth in your marriage, to create new growth in your relationship, to create new growth in your sex life. It's important to make sure you try and figure out a way to create a new energy in your life, a new energy in your sex life, a new energy in your bedroom. Make sure you're doing that. Plan it out. Nothing's wrong with you writing down in a journal of what you want to do or having a conversation. Nothing's wrong with that. But what you need to know when you leave from this conversation today is it all starts with you. And I'm going to leave this with you guys, and I want you guys to have a fabulous night. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't ever let anybody tell you that when it comes down to sex, what you did in the beginning of your relationship, 10 years down the line, is going to be the same. I can guarantee you, one of the spouses or both of you guys are going to be bored with it. So you have to find a way to add some spice to it. You have to find a way to add some flavor to it. It's important to make sure you're doing those things. One thing I will say as well, take some time to make sure you're spending quality time between just the two of you so you guys can find ways to connect. Have a conversation. Don't make life all about sex, but make sure you're finding ways to make sure you're continuing to have growth. Have a great sex session tonight, I hope, and I'll see you guys next Monday. Have a good night.